All right, so we're going to talk about how to graph piecewise functions. So piecewise functions are two or more parts of a graph. So in graphs that we've done before, they've been one function and it's not separated into pieces. Here you'll see that we have two pieces. We have negative 2x and x plus 4. Now we have conditionals of when those things happen. So negative 2x happens when x is less than or equal to 1. And x plus 4 happens when x is greater than 1. I like to call 1 my anchor point. In this case, both equations have an anchor point of 1. They don't always have to have the same anchor point. So this bottom part could start when x is greater than 4. But in this case, they do. They have the same anchor point. So what we're going to do then is we're going to use our anchor point to help us graph. So I'm going to make two tables. One table is going to be my anchor point of 1 and numbers less than 1 because x is less than or equal to 1. So 1 and then a number less than 1 would be 0 and negative 2, let's say. Okay, and so when that happens, I'm going to use my negative 2x equation. When I have x plus 4, I'm going to use my anchor point. So I'm going to use my 1 still, but I'm going to use it when numbers are bigger than 1. So I'm going to use 1 as kind of my starting point, but it doesn't equal 1. So we'll get to what that means in a second. But some other numbers that are greater than 1 are 2 and 3. Okay? So now I'm going to plug the numbers that I've picked into my set equations. So I'm going to plug negative 2 times 1, which is negative 2. Negative 2 times 0, which is 0. And then I'm going to do negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to plug in for my other part of the equation. So 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 plus 4 is 6. 3 plus 4 is 7. Now that I have my two parts of my equation, I can graph it. So I'm going to start by graphing my negative 2x part. So I'm going to graph 1, negative 2. 1, 2. I'm going to graph 0, 0. I'm going to graph negative 2, positive 4. And so now when I connect these numbers, I'm going to use my anchor point. And my anchor point tells me that it's going to go up because it's numbers less than 1. Notice how I have a closed circle here. I have a closed circle here because it's or equal to 1. So I am actually going to plot that point. So there is that part of the graph. Remember, this is numbers less than 1. And did I show that it was less than 1? Yes, all my numbers on this part of the graph are less than 1. So now I'm going to graph the other part. Here it says 1, 5. But the tricky thing about this is that it doesn't equal 1. So I'm still going to plot 1, 5. But I'm going to do it with an open circle because it doesn't include that point. Then I'm going to do 2, 6 and 3, 7. And then these numbers are going to all be numbers that are greater than 1. So I'm going to draw my arrow so that it faces numbers greater than 1. There you go. You have your first piecewise function.